So you are George? Professor Wiseman said. If I had only known. Of course, everything will be forgiven, if you are willing to go. They got the smallest size spacesuit for George and all the other things he needed for the flight. Then they helped him put them on and showed him how to use them. When everything was ready, a truck drove up with a special television. Spacesuit, complete with shoes and gloves, check. One space helmet, check. Oxygen tank, check. Emergency rockets, check. One parachute. With a special television screen mounted on it to watch the flight. They all got on and were off to the launching site. They checked all the controls of the spaceship, especially the lever that opened the door. George tried it too. There's George in his spacesuit. The great moment had come. George would waved goodbye and went aboard. The door was closed. Professor Wiseman began to count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! He pressed the button and the ship rose into the air. Slowly first, and then faster and faster, and higher, until they could no longer see. It in the sky. But on the screen they saw George clearly all the time. Now the moment had come for George to bail out. Professor Wiseman flashed the signal. They watched the screen. George did not move. Why didn't he pull the lever? In a few seconds, it would be too late. The ship would be lost in outer space, with George in it. They waited anxiously. At last, George began to move. Slowly, as if in a daze, he was groping for the lever. Would he reach it in time? There! He had grabbed it! The door opened, and hurrah! George was on his way! Out of the blue, an open parachute came floating down to earth. The truck raced over to the spot where George would land. What a welcome for George! Professor Wiseman hung a big golden medal around his neck. Because, he said, you are the first living being to come back to Earth from a space flight. And on the medal it said, to George, the first space monkey. Then a newspaperman took his picture, and everybody shouted and cheered, even the farmer and son, and the kind woman from next door, who had worked for hours to get the water out of the room. I'm proud of you, George, said the man with the yellow hat. I guess the whole world is proud of you today. It was the happiest day in George's life. George has a medal.